Chapter 31 A Mess. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The leading crane hand, Lu Bai, smashed the bricks with a bang and stood up directly. Damn it, let's go and see who dares to pretend to be me. Remember, no one will be left behind. On the shore, Mu Feng had been observing for a long time. He saw the right moment for the second time, bowed slightly, and was about to set off. Kill. The sudden sound was not far away from him, making Mu Gaofeng tremble. After he stabilized his body, he poked his head out from behind the willow tree. I saw a group of people from the Sun-Moon God sect entering the arena. I thought it was for the evil sword manual, but after entering, all the white sword lights were directed towards the Xuanhuan sect call. Mu Gaofeng looked puzzled and said, "Weird." He continued to lurk and wait for an opportunity. On the other side of the river opposite him, after the devil cult entered the scene, several people monitoring the situation in the grass and forest on the bank suddenly became angry and immediately got up and ran back. Deep in the forest, Renying, whose face was covered by black gauze, quickly received a report from her subordinates. There are really people who are not afraid of death and dare to pretend to be our holy religion. That's great. Renying took a step forward and said in a cold voice, "Give me the order, gather the people, and follow me to kill the enemy." At this time, someone immediately admonished, "Holy Ant, please calm down. There are too many people in the field. If we enter now, it will be the same as entering a whirlpool." "I don't care about the whirlpool. I only know that the majesty of the holy religion is being violated. Now listen to my order and set off." Behind the willow tree on the shore, his eyes were always staring at the wooden peak of the red cassock. He raised his energy for the third time and prepared, when his body was about to move again. "Thieves who dare to pretend to be our holy religion are seeking death." Another group of people from Yanjiang entered the field, specifically looking for the previous group of demon sect disciples. Mu Gaofeng, who saw this scene on the shore, was a little dumbfounded. Why are these people coming one after another? Looking at it now, there are people on big boats, small boats, and on the water, and they are shouting to kill them everywhere. The entire river turned into a pot of porridge. On the deck, Yuan was swinging his sword to the left and kicking his right hand. His mind was already a little dizzy. Who the hell are these? At this time, Ning Zhong came to his side with a sword, back to back with Lao Yu. "Brother, are you sure you said you were avoiding everyone instead of notifying everyone?" Hearing the resentment in his wife's tone, Lao Yu's cheeks turned red. "How did I know it would be like this? And the evil sword manual, senior brother, you just said you didn't have it last night." "That's false." Lao Yu whispered, "I guessed early on that someone would be targeting us, so I bought an old cassock in advance, thinking that if someone snatched it away on purpose, it would divert the trouble to the east." "This, senior brother, you are confused. Although doing this can attract other people's attention, it will also confirm that you robbed Yu Canghai's sword manual. If the person who took the cassock later found out that the secret manual was fake, wouldn't it be wrong? They will also come to cause trouble for us. Junior sister, ever since Yu Canghai confronted me openly, I have been unable to escape. I have no choice but to resort to this strategy to minimize the losses." Lao Yu opened a long sword with a look of sadness on his face. "Oh, it's useless to talk about it now. Senior brother, it's important that you and I work together to get through this difficulty first. Junior sister is right. I see that the current scene is extremely chaotic. It is our opportunity to escape from Huashan Mountain. Junior sister, you and I will separately inform the other disciples and deliberately fall into the water to escape far away. We will gather at the lotus slope upstream." "Good." The two separated and entered the crowd again. Almost at the same time, a group of Jianghu were forced to fight with the disciples of the demon sect. At first, for some unknown reason, they were like cats whose tails were stepped on. They did not say a word, but fiercely greeted them with their swords. It wasn't until another group of demon sects entered the scene and staged a drama of real and fake demon sects that they had a chance to breathe a sigh of relief. The leader of the Jianghu spat out a mouthful of blood. "Damn it, these crazy people. How are we damaged?" The Jianghu who followed next to him covered his bleeding arm. "What I saw alone, 7 of them were dead, and the rest were all injured. Brother Long, why do I feel that something is not right about this scene tonight? Haven't you noticed yet? They're all just like us, wearing fake skin. What should we do? What else can we do? Let's withdraw first. At this time, there are 3 forces in the field who are planning to retreat. In addition to Huashan and Jinyui, the other one is the Qingqing faction. After the red cassock fell into Yuanhai's hands, he didn't even need to look at it. He immediately realized something was wrong and cursed secretly. Seeing Ling Huchong stabbing him with a sword, he pretended not to notice. His coat was cut open, he let out a scream, and the cassock in his hand naturally fell into the opponent's hand. Ling Huchong was a little confused and glanced at the edge of his sword. He was a little unsure whether he had just stabbed it, but his attention was soon attracted by the evil sword manual. Seeing several greedy looks around him, there was no time for him to take a closer look. He hurriedly ran to Lao Yu and said, somewhat asking for credit, "Master, look." Lao Yu turned around, his eyelids twitching wildly, and when he looked at Ling Huchong's smiling face, the previous cuteness suddenly disappeared. Good disciple. Lao Yu smiled stiffly and was thinking about how to give away the secret book. Suddenly he saw the disciples of the Xuanhuan sect on the boat below, and he was certain in his heart. With a kick from someone behind him, Lao Yu awkwardly fell forward, and the cassock in Ling Huchong's hand was also thrown out by him. Ling Huchong was shocked and wanted to fly to grab it. Chong'er. Ning Zhong's voice suddenly sounded behind him, and Ling Huchong quickly turned around, only to find that his wife had also fallen to the ground. He panicked, not caring about the cassock, and hurried forward to help. Master's wife, what's wrong with you? Chong'er, let's go quickly, now. On the other side, the red cassock fluttered down and just covered the head of the Jinyui in the lead. He hurriedly waved his sword around, and when he found that there was no enemy, but the Bishia sword manual that everyone was fighting for, many Jinyui were immediately in trouble. They knew the details of this thing, and this time they didn't come to rob it, but purely to frame the Xuanhuan sect and to help boost the reputation of the Bishia sword manual. But now how did this hot potato fall into their hands? After the real and fake demon sect just now, everyone had noticed that they were pretending to be the Xuanhuan sect, so this thing must be sent out. Just as he was anxious, a black shadow rushed from the shore quickly, and the target was exactly the cassock in his hand. The Jinyui recognized at a glance that the man was Mu Gaofeng, a famous camel from the northern frontier. Just in time. The leading Jinyui shouted, I am Lu Bai, the crane hand of Xuanhuan sect. Senior brothers Wolengchan, I advise you to think carefully before you come. However, Mu Gaofeng's eyes flashed with sarcasm, and he did not slow down. When he came close, the two of them clashed with each other. The leading Jinyui immediately lost his cassock and fell to the ground seriously injured, shouting, Mu Gaofeng, you are so powerful. Not far away, Lu Bai, who was fighting with Ren Yingying, heard that someone was shamelessly pretending to be him, and he was so angry that he screamed wow. He immediately wanted to go over and twist the man's neck, but was stopped by the person in front of him. Ren Yingying had already seen through the situation in the field, and couldn't help but sneer, the injured one is Lu Bai of Xuanhuan sect, why are you screaming? Demon sect witch, you are looking for death. The two fought again. Mu Gaofeng, who had snatched the cassock, was extremely surprised at the moment. Although he felt that strange things happened one after another tonight and everything went so smoothly, as long as he got the sword manual, it would be fine. When he mastered the sword manual of exorcism, he could crush any conspiracy. On the river, Lao Yu was half in the water. Seeing the sword manual being taken away by Mu Gaofeng, he breathed a sigh of relief, feeling someone looking at him. He looked in the direction and saw that Yuanhai had turned around and called his disciples to row away. Lao Yu frowned and instinctively felt that something was wrong. Suddenly, he reacted and slapped the river. Damn it. That short you had the same plan as me. He must have a copy of the sword manual of exorcism. He pestered me and acted out such a play of finding fault and chasing, just to show his eagerness and to confirm that the sword manual was in my hands. I was taking the blame for others. In the future, the trouble about the sword manual of exorcism will probably only come to Mu Gaofeng and me. This Chuan family man is so cruel. It's about to end. It feels so fast. I was watching it with great interest. I didn't expect Mu Gaofeng to show up at the end. He's so unlucky. Well, except for that guy, the others are not fools. It's unexpectedly smooth to be able to fight like this. But the evil defeating sword manual has been spread out again. Isn't this what the Jianghu want again? It's okay. Yuan is not that simple. Regardless of whether the sword manual is true or false, we will expose the shortcomings of the sword manual after this matter ferments for a while. Look, those Jianghu have also started to withdraw. Well, there are still many left. Let's go and clean up. On the high ground not far from the river, two figures who were originally standing disappeared in a trance. Chapter 32, Jianghu and the Government. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Xuanhuan Sect, Meeting Hall. 3 days have passed since the multi-sect massacre that night. Zhuo, who is slightly fat and dignified, read the investigation results in his hand with a solemn expression. He handed the letter in his hand to Ding Mian, the big guard beside him, who took it and was a little anxious after reading it. Brother, the letter said that those who pretended to be my Xuanhuan sect were suspected to be from Jianghu. Counting the incident in Hengshan City, could it be that the court has already set its sights on us, brother? We. Taiwan Novel Network. Zhuo raised his hand to signal the other party not to worry. It's not against our Xuanhuan sect, but the whole Jianghu. The reason why they pretended to be us is to push our Xuanhuan sect to the opposite side of the other 4 sections. They want to see us kill each other, but it seems that someone has been interfering, which exposed their actions. Of course, all this the premise is that Jianghu is indeed involved. Ding Mian doesn't like to think, he is more direct, and asked immediately, then should we change our subsequent plans? Zhuo pondered for a moment and said, continue according to the plan. Let Yu Jizi fight for the position of Taishan leader, and at the same time look for the people of Huashan sword sect, and that Mu Gaofeng, and arrange a few people to check it out. What about the murder of junior brother Fei Bin? This time Zhuo was silent for a long time before saying, I am not sure about Mo Da's strength, so don't provoke him for the time being. You can quietly let someone spread the word, and say it was Mo Da who killed those Jianghu in Kuaishan Mountain. He was suspected of having. Zhuo moved his lips halfway through his speech, as if he had made a decision. Forget it, don't release the news. Ding Miangong thought this was a good idea, but when he heard Zhuo suddenly reject it, he quickly asked, brother, this plan is very good, why give it up? Facing his absolutely trusted junior brother, Zhuo did not hide anything. Junior brother, whenever it comes to Jianghu, I am always worried. The last time was when Master entrusted the sect to me before his death. At that time, the sect was in turmoil and there was still thanks to your support, we have achieved what we have today. Brother, are you saying that the situation is very similar now and then? Zhuo nodded, I also know that it is a good idea to use Jianghu to test Mo Da, but Mo Da is a Jianghu man, and Jianghu is a court man. If my Xuanhuan sect wants to be the leader of the Jianghu, we must consider the day when the court will really take action against the Jianghu. At that time, the Jianghu must have a bargaining chip that the court is afraid of, and the current Mo Da is one of the bargaining chips. Ding Mian understood, but he was uncomfortable in his heart, and his expression was basically written on his face. Zhuo comforted him, I know you are unhappy, and I don't want to see junior brother Fei die. Don't worry, I will give an explanation to all the brothers about this matter, but now is not the time. Besides, even if we don't guide Mo Da, Jianghu will take the initiative to investigate him. It's just right, let's see the attitude of the court. The attitude of the court has never changed. Hundreds of miles away, Lu Yuan was also talking about this topic with Lu Hua. He found an example, just like the beggar force in a city, it will not allow other beggars to stick together too much. After saying this, Lu Hua understood instantly, unless the number of beggar forces is about the same. That's right, that is, the balance of power between the two sides. The saying that the knight violates the law with force is an excuse for the court to suppress the martial arts world, and it can also be a way for the martial arts world to resist the court. The premise is that this force must be strong enough. You know, the martial arts world 100 years ago was strong enough. And can even decide the direction of the temple. You also said it was 100 years ago. I don't know if the current court will really take action against the martial arts world. That depends on whether the court has the courage. I feel that if we provoke them a few times, the two sides will confront each other. Why, Huar, don't you want to see both sides fight? Lu Huar shook her head. I don't care. As long as you and I are safe in this world, I'm just afraid that it will affect your plan to promote the prosperity of martial arts. Is that so? If that day really has a chance to come, we will just take action once. TSK, you are talking with a domineering attitude of contempt for the world now. Ha, just say whether you like it or not. Shameless. Ha ha ha, in order to despise the world as soon as possible, let's speed up the pace of collection. Lu Yuan did not follow the Huashan sect to continue northward, but took Lu Hua and performed Qinggong all the way towards Giang. Although Huashan sect is also Lu Yuan's target, the relevant plot will not start until some time later. During this period, Linghu Chon will be punished to Sigua Cliff, and it will take several months to learn Dugu Zhejian. Although Lu Yuan changed a lot of the original plot, Linghu Chang's main line has not changed, so the general direction of the follow-up will not deviate too far. Taking advantage of this period, Lu Yuan plans to go around and harvest the classics and Taoist temple collections of the surrounding sects. As for the Giang direction, the most famous sect at present is the Five Poison sect. This is a sect created by the Five Poison God, full of mystery and horror. They believe in 5 poisonous creatures: snakes, centipedes, scorpions, spiders and toads. The martial arts in the sect are also based on this. Lu Yuan does not plan to play with insects in the future, but he has a lot of curiosity, not to mention that it is helpful to his medical poison. The Five Poison sect is located in the Five Poison Ridge in Miaojiang, which is a mysterious and terrifying place. Poisonous creatures are rampant on the ridge, and it is difficult for ordinary people to get involved. This also provides a natural barrier and shelter for the Five Poison sect. When Lu Yuan and the other two arrived, the leader Lan Fenghuang was not in the sect. Lu Yuan knew that the other party was following Ren Yingying to hang out privately at that time. This was good, and it was convenient for Lu Yuan to act. After arriving at the Five Poison Ridge, he only took half a day to empty the Five Poison sect. The medical classics and poison classics in it continued to enrich his knowledge. Reserves, the sect's secret book Five Poison Classics inspired him a lot. Its core is to stimulate the body through 5 kinds of toxins to accelerate the birth of internal force. In this process, the 5 kinds of toxins check and balance each other, and actually achieved a strange balance. This method also has a saying: fight poison with poison. The internal force born is toxic, and it also subtly affects the human body and improves the ability to resist poison. Lu Yuan did not intend to test the poison himself, but it helped him broaden his ideas for refining medicine and the way of using medicine. In terms of the way of using poison, the poisons prepared by Lu Yuan are more targeted and more controllable. In this way, the use of poison can have some extreme therapeutic effects, and the boundary between medicine and poison is becoming more blurred. Before leaving, in order to collect materials, he did not let go of the 5 insect kings placed in the main altar, and he almost squeezed them dry. After leaving the Five Poison sect, Lu Yuan and the others changed their direction to the northwest and arrived at Mount Amei in the evening of the same day. There, Lu Yuan told Lu Hua about the world of the Condor Heroes and the legend of the Condor Heroes 100 years ago. On the golden summit of Buddha Light, he recited the later poem to Guoxiang. When I walked through the mountains didn't speak. When I passed by the sea didn't speak. The little donkey dripped, and the sword of the heavenly sword accompanied me to the end of the world. Everyone said that I became a monk on Mount Amei because I loved the hero Yanghua. In fact, I just fell in love with the clouds and rosy clouds on Mount Amei. It looks like the fireworks when I was 16 years old. After listening, Lu Hua's eyes were full of tears. Looking at the rosy clouds in the distance of the golden summit, she sighed. Only tragedy in the world is the most touching, and only regret is the most unforgettable. It's worth coming here to see the clouds and rosy clouds that the female hero Guoxiang once read. No, although the clouds and rosy clouds here are beautiful, they are not worth our special trip. Then what are we here for? The Amei sect no longer exists. Lu Yuan smiled and took the tools from behind him. When the two ends were connected, they formed a shovel. Of course, we are going to visit the former head of the MA sect. After 100 years, we will go to loosen the soil for them. Lu Huar. Chapter 33 The Right Path. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old site of the MA sect is relatively easy to find. It is a pity that after more than 100 years, this place has been visited by countless people. Yuan passed by the graveyards of the head disciples and came to a tomb with vague inscriptions in the corner. On it was the words, Qingshu Zhirua was buried together. Is this tomb special? Lu Huar asked. How should I put it? This is another long story. Then let's talk while digging. Okay, the story of these two people must start from the end of the Yuan dynasty and the beginning of the Ming dynasty, when Master Zhang was still alive. Lu Yuan kept telling Etienne's story without stopping. Halfway through the digging, he was sure that the place had been touched, but despite all the trouble, he still dug the cemetery completely. The decayed coffin has long lost its appearance. 2 dead bones are scattered in the soil, and there are almost no burial objects around it. It seems that these two left nothing for future generations. Lu Huar squatted beside the tomb and looked at it. Maybe I kept it, but it's a pity that it was taken away in advance. Lu Yuan stretched out his hand to take a branch with green leaves and swiped it in the soil. Then do you want to look at other cemeteries? No, the one in front of me is inconspicuous enough. Even this place is clean. It's hard to tell whether the other bones are still there. Forget it, it's just a matter of luck. If not, there won't be any. After Lu Yuan spoke for a moment, he couldn't help but move his hands to clean the soil a little faster. Soon, he cleared out a wrinkled piece of mud bit by bit. Seeing this, Lu Yuan vaguely guessed something, and his expression gradually became one of surprise. What is this? Lu Huar also became more energetic. It's hard to tell. Then what are you excited about? Do you have any speculation? Hey, a little bit. Oh, tell me quickly. Lu Yuan laughed and said, don't worry, as a thank you for the gift, we will help these 2 seniors to be buried first. Lu Yuan quickly piled up the new grave, and even cleaned up the weeds around it. After finishing, the 2 of them bowed to each other, and then hurriedly left, looking for a place with a stream. The land edge cleared away the sediment bit by bit, gradually revealing its true appearance. It was a folded handkerchief. And judging from its current performance, the quality is still in excellent condition. Lu Huar was immediately shocked. What kind of material is this handkerchief made of? It has not decayed after 150 years. Lu Yuan continued to clean it carefully. It was more than 150 years ago. This handkerchief was made by Huang Rong, the wife of the former hero Gua. Later, it was stuffed into black iron to make the Etienne sword. Then the Etienne sword broke and the handkerchief it just fell into the hands of the 2 people just now. In other words, this handkerchief is not only fire-resistant and waterproof, but also exists at least. Lu Yuan paused and gave the answer, 230 years. Lu Huar took a breath of air. I actually feel like I'm witnessing history. What's so special about this handkerchief? At this time, the land edge has cleaned most of the sediment, revealing a pure white background. He raised his handkerchief to the sun and said with a smile, come and see. Lu Huar came closer and found that there were tiny characters tattooed on it. She read out, the 9 manual, the way of heaven, what is more than is damaged and what is lacking is made up for. Is this, martial arts? Huar, we won the lottery. Lu Yuan was quite happy. There are 2 articles on martial arts recorded here, namely 9 manual and 18 palms for subduing the dragon. They are both secret arts that shocked the entire world 200 years ago, and they are the current martial arts. Comparison, well, probably like adults and children. Lu Huar was surprised, better than your own martial arts? Well, that's not possible. Lu Yuan restrained his smile and said quite confidently, although I haven't read it yet, I am convinced that the immortality Kung Fu is not weaker than the ancient classics. The reason why I am happy is because of these 2 martial arts are all the hard work of the great sages of that era, and the ideas and perspectives in them are the real treasures. Just as Lu Yuan thought, that night, after Lu Yuan took Lu Hua to check into the inn, he began to retreat and meditate. The first is the 9 manual. Due to the size of a handkerchief, it is naturally not the complete book. It only contains the general outline of internal skills, destroying divine claws and 9 spiral shadows. Lu Yuan closed his eyes and silently recited the general heart secret, which echoed the Taoist scriptures he had read in the past few years. After going through it all, Lu Yuan had thoroughly understood the general concept. After the second pass, Lu Yuan vaguely felt the original author, Huang Shan's realization when he created the power. After 3 times, Lu Yuan's thinking began to jump. Taoist scriptures, the secrets of the human body, the essence of life, and countless knowledge began to intertwine. They began to gradually corroborate each other from originally different fields, and finally reached the same destination through different paths. Lu Yuan's sparks of inspiration continue to bloom in the dark night. 9 manual takes the mutual complementation of yin and yang as the core, harmonizing the feminine strength and masculine strength of martial arts, and finally reaches its so-called supreme state. The most essential part is that the yin pole generates yang. This reminds Lu Yuan of the Taoist theory of yin and yang being rooted in and hiding each other. All things in the world are premised on the mutual coexistence of yin and yang, and have the role of supporting, promoting and reinforcing each other. This relationship is reflected in nature and the human body, such as heaven and earth, sun and moon, day and night, cold and heat, men and women, etc. In the 2 sides of yin and yang, either side contains the other, that is, there is yin in yang, and there is yang in yin. Yin and yang penetrate and include each other. This mutual relationship enables the yin and yang to transform into each other under certain conditions, thereby achieving a dynamic balance. This is consistent with the yin and yang of the body in medicine. From the perspective of traditional Chinese medicine, the human body itself is an organic whole where yin and yang work together. In terms of human body parts, the top is yang and the bottom is yin. The surface of the body is yang and the inside is yin, the back is yang and the abdomen is yin. The outside of the limbs is yang and the inside of the limbs is yin. If we look at the 5 internal organs, the 5 internal organs belong to yin, because their functions are mainly quiet compared to the 6 internal organs. The 6 internal organs belong to yang, and their functions are more dynamic than the 5 internal organs. The 5 internal organs can be divided into yin and yang according to their positions. The heart and lungs located higher are yang organs, and the liver, spleen, and kidneys located lower are yin organs. Of course there are also changes in meridians. The vast knowledge pushed Lu Yuan to a higher level. He caught the thread in the spark of inspiration, combined the changes of yin and yang in the human body with the changes in natural yin and yang, and gradually found a way to advance. With Fu Lin in his heart, he almost subconsciously recited, taking the changes of yin and yang, promoting the growth of the 5 qi, using the changes of the human body, integrating the changes of nature, using the gods to channel spirits. Life and life are cultivated together. The Tao is natural, and all things are born. In the inn, Lu Hua, who had been guarding Lu Yuan, suddenly saw the movement and was a little nervous at first. You must know that Lu Yuan has not behaved like this in the past, but after staring for a while, I saw that he was just reading softly, and I was no longer nervous. As for what Lu Yuan said, she didn't think it was anything special. She thought it was some Taoist scripture. This is the portrayal of a true message and a false message of thousands of books. That kind of state of mind that only the enlightened can understand cannot be simply described in words. Lu Yuan continued to read like this for nearly half an hour. The moment he opened his eyes, Lu Hua clearly felt that Lu Yuan had an indescribable temperament. She just wanted to feel it carefully. But she had lost the feeling, which made people feel panicked and uncomfortable. Lu Yuan, you. Lu Yuan smiled and stared at the girl. Hua, I have found the right path. Chapter 34 Changes in Oneself and Changes in Nature. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Hua subconsciously grabbed Lu Yuan's arm, and her expression was not very happy. What's wrong? I don't know, it's just a feeling. Just that moment, you seemed far away from me, but you were clearly beside me. Taiwan Novel Network. Lu Hua frowned. She tried to explain it clearly, but she couldn't explain the feeling. Anyway, it made her feel a little panicked. Lu Yuan was slightly startled after hearing this, and blinked his eyes. I seem to understand the reason you said. What's going on? Let me think about how to explain it to you. Lu Yuan thought for a while, and took out a similar example. Huar, you know the different treatments between the legitimate and illegitimate children in those big families, right? Of course I know. Lu Yuan nodded and continued, the internal strength you and I practiced before, although it is profound and changeable, it is more reflected in the exquisiteness of the practice, that is to say, it has a fixed ceiling. Even if you and I practice to the extreme, it is just the limit of the martial artists in this world. Speaking of this, Lu Yuan showed confidence, and what I have realized is to break this upper limit. In the end, I can achieve fundamental changes. Although I don't know to what extent the changes will be, but this represents the evolution of life. Let's take the big family just now as an example. You can regard all kinds of creatures in this world as a big family. The head of the family is the world, and we and others are all illegitimate children in the mansion, and our treatment is good or bad. Now, I have realized a way to change my fate, which can really achieve the transformation from illegitimate children to legitimate children. And the strangeness you just noticed should be the throbbing when I was in touch with the world, or in other words, the news that I was going to be promoted came out in the big family. Do you understand what I said? Lu Huar was stunned for a long time, and suddenly asked a very real and explicit question, then if you become a legitimate child, can you still be with me? The voice was very calm, just like an inadvertent inquiry at ordinary times, but Lu Huar rarely asked so directly. If you listen carefully, you can still hear the slight tremor in her voice. Although Lu Yuan's words just now were euphemistic, Lu Huar was not stupid. Those words could be expressed in a more cruel way. I am about to change from a monkey to a human, then will people still like monkeys? Lu Yuan was stunned by this question, then he laughed and reached out to ruffle the girl's long hair. What are you thinking about, silly girl? The way to promotion is of course for you to follow me, and do you think this kind of evolution can be achieved overnight? What I have realized is divided into two stages. First, realize the change of oneself, that is, practice martial arts to the extreme, and achieve absolute control over the changes of the yin and yang and 5 elements of the human body. I call it martial arts innate, which is relatively simple. The second stage is the most troublesome, connecting the changes of the world and nature with the changes of oneself. To put it bluntly, this is a process of gradually accepting the transformation of the world. The time may be calculated in decades, and finally realize life innate. Not the concept of prehistoric innate. How about it? Are you still afraid that I will abandon you now? After hearing this, look at Lu Yuan's last half-smile expression. Lu Huar's face flushed, and she was so embarrassed that she directly hit Lu Yuan with her head. Ah! You're so annoying. Lu Yuan laughed even more happily and hugged the other person with his backhand, and Lu Huar also took the opportunity to dive into Lu Yuan's arms and stopped moving, but she couldn't help laughing from time to time, like a cat that got dried fish. Inadvertently, the relationship between the two warmed up again. Everything was so natural, so smooth. They played and stuck together for a while. Lu Yuan officially began to modify the exercises according to his understanding, and this time lasted until the second half of the night. Changxing Dong also officially came to version 6.5, the human 5 elements yin and yang transformation was added. In the future practice process, the practitioner will gradually understand the changes of the 5 elements yin and yang in the body, and finally achieve complete control from the physical body to the internal force. In this process, the original health regulation, automatic return of qi and other functions of the exercises will be greatly enhanced, and the internal force cultivated will be more pure. Lu Yuan, who successfully changed his practice, did not show any movement around him at this moment, but Lu Huar, who was always staring at him, saw the difference. He, more natural, like a tree in the forest, a stone in the mountain. No one would think their existence is abrupt. Lu Yuan's current feeling is just like that, very comfortable. Opening his eyes, seeing the girl still staring at him, he grinned. Are you sleepy? Otherwise, take a nap first. I will teach you new kung fu tomorrow. Okay. Lu Huar agreed decisively, got on the bed and lay down behind Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan was going to get up to make room for the other party, but was caught by Lu Huar. Her little face was red, and she pretended to be indifferent, "You can sleep here, it's not like we haven't been together before." Lu Yuan was happy when he heard it, and he laughed a strange hee-hee-hee from his mouth, and lay down in Lu Huar's face full of disdain. A quiet night. Before leaving the next day, Lu Yuan helped Lu Huar to practice new skills in the inn. According to Lu Huar's body, Lu Yuan made targeted adjustments to the technique. The girl was also smart, or she had been forced to learn quickly over the years. When the two set out on the road, the new technique had already started to work in their bodies. The journey of collecting had to continue, and this time the destination was Qingqing sect. On the way, Lu Yuan took out the 3 martial arts of 18 palms of the dragon subduing, destroying divine claws and 9 spiral shadows for his understanding. After reading 18 palms of the dragon subduing, Lu Yuan's first feeling was, "The great way is simple, different from the traditional way of internal cultivation in 9 manual. The way of dragon subduing is completely from the outside to the inside." The extreme moves, combined with the clever changes in strength, made Lu Yuan's eyes shine. This kind of kung fu does not even require internal strength, and the strength of national martial arts alone can burst out terrible killing. Lu Yuan's national martial arts has reached the peak of transformation, and the reason for the previous inability to break through has been found. It is because his body is too poor. He vaguely guessed that he could continue to move forward after completing the second stage of transformation of longevity kung fu. Just like when he learned to take advantage of the situation before, he could not completely unify heaven and man because of this. The feeling of not worthy is not fake, it is really because the life level is too low. Just like gorillas can communicate with humans and even convey feelings, but they are not humans and cannot fully empathize. Back to the point, the national martial arts made it not too easy for Lu Yuan to learn the 18 palms of the dragon subduing. He thoroughly understood the 18 kinds of power changes and quickly deduced and condensed them into 9 changes. Then, together with the use of the golden lung qi and the heart sutra of the hand shaoyin in the destroying divine claw, Lu Yuan figured out the techniques of covering the sword energy with his fingers and flicking the sword energy with his hands. Finally, he integrated them all into the 4.0 version of Martial Classic and the 4.2 version of Kendo. As for Spiral 9 Shadows, a fine light skill, especially in terms of maneuvering and short-range bursts, is a good resource for Lu Yuan. One thing to say is that the 9 shadows here do not really leave shadows, but are just a modification of too fast speed. The light skill Walking on the Clouds also came to version 5.0, Qingqing Mountain, located in Dujianjian City, Sichuan Province in the later generations, now belongs to Chengdu Prefecture. It is the beginning of July now. Looking around, the sun is covered by green shade, the mountains and forests are shrouded in mist, the ancient trees are towering, and the streams are gurgling. There is an atmosphere of being away from the hustle and bustle, quiet and deep. The Taoist culture here is very strong. Combined with the natural scenery, it is known as Qingqing is the most secluded in the world. When he came here, Lu Yuan couldn't help shaking his head and humming. Bai Suzhen under Qingqing Mountain, cultivated this body in the cave for thousands of years. Chapter 35, News from the Jianghu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you singing? How's it going? Does it sound good? Lu Huar tried hard to control her expression, and finally said, "Goose goose goose goose." The girl really didn't hold back and laughed out loud. Lu Yuan just glanced sideways at him. Lu Huar laughed for a while before stopping. She reached out and patted Lu Yuan. "Well, actually you can sing pretty well, but the tune is a bit weird. I think the original song should be good. Come and teach me how to sing." Lu Yuan hummed twice before teaching the original song to Lu Huar. Remember the domain name of this website, Taiwan Novel Network. After learning it, Lu Huar took some time to think about it and sang a cappella. For a moment, Lu Yuan felt as if the song by Suzhen at the foot of Qingqing Mountain had been rewritten. Lu Huar's voice was originally a little cute, but now when she sings the little song, she seems to be a different person. The song is as clear as a mountain stream and as gentle as a lark in the forest. Every word and phrase seems to come alive. Ancient opera. The singing style is paired with modern tunes, which makes people involuntarily think of the broken bridges in Suzhou and Hangzhou, talented people and beautiful women, etc., making people indulge in it without knowing it, and subconsciously clap along with the ditty. as soon as the song was finished, Lu Hua's face turned slightly red, her eyes filled with anticipation and a little bit of shyness. At that moment, the sun shone through the gaps between the forest leaves and fell on the girl's face. In that scene, the girl looked like a fairy in a painting, charming and innocent as water. Lu Yuan was in a daze for a moment and pretended to sigh. No matter how majestic the country is, it is not as good as a beautiful woman singing. Hua, I can finally understand why those emperors can abandon their country and choose beauties. Lu Hua was stunned by the praise. When she realized what she was saying, her cheeks warmed up rapidly. Her eyes subconsciously glanced to the left and right, wanting to laugh but wanting to hold back. She felt dizzy and her expressions were quite rich. Oh, you're talking nonsense again, I'm ignoring you. After she finished speaking, she stamped her feet and flew out. She originally planned to ask about the name of the song, but she didn't care anymore. Behind him, Lu Yuan chuckled and stepped up to follow. Qingqing sect, as the largest Jianghu sect in the area, you don't have to look for it, just ask anyone and they will know the location. At this time, Yuanhai and others have not returned yet. It can only be said that Lu Yuan and the two were traveling too fast. Telling the story of the new white snake to Lu Hua, the two of them sneaked into the sect extremely skillfully, knocked out the remaining disciples, and found out the leader's room. Then there was another burst of tapping, and he skillfully found the hidden compartment where Yuanhai had hidden the secret book. Soon, 7 secret books including Song Feng sword technique, heart-destroying palm, shadowless phantom leg, and crane Jiuxiao divine art fell into the hands of the two of them. Lu Yuan flipped through it quickly, and except for heart-destroying palm from the 9 manual, which was barely considered a masterpiece, the rest were all top-of-the-line products. After absorbing it, the biggest gain from this trip was that Lu Yuan's internal power had another penetrating characteristic that could complement in Jin. As for the rest, maybe I just finished reading martial arts such as 9 and subduing the dragon, and in comparison, I feel like there is a gap between delicacies and coarse food. However, it was still somewhat rewarding. As usual, Lu Yuan found paper and pen and wrote down the upgraded version of Songfeng Divine Sword. Compared with the original Songfeng sword art, after practicing it to a great level, he could attack like 1,000 pines falling in the rain. The movement is the strong wind in the forest. When he was done, Lu Yuan put the manuscript into the secret compartment together with other secret books. After that, Lu Yuan took Lu Hua and left the Qingqing sect. The two of them did not go down the mountain, but visited the Taoist temple near Qingqing mountain. There are dozens of Taoist temples on this mountain alone, such as Tianshi Cave, Jianfu Palace, Shangqing Palace, Zushi Palace, Yuanming Palace, Laojun Pavilion, Yuqing Palace, Chaoyang Cave, etc. There may be repetitions in the Taoist scriptures, but each Taoist priest has a different understanding of the scriptures. This time Lu Yuan did not sneak in to read it, but deliberately discussed it in detail with each Taoist priest. Regarding the Taoist scriptures, Lu Yuan initially wanted to be like other time travelers, relying on his understanding to directly see through immortality and figure out the method of cultivating immortals. However, after actually reading the Taoist scriptures, he realized that he was very wrong. It feels like giving you a third-grade mathematics textbook and asking you to write a college curve integral and surface integral. His incredible understanding allows him to continuously innovate and improve on the existing knowledge system, but he cannot create something out of nothing. After recognizing the reality, Lu Yuan began to read extensively about various scriptures and knowledge in order to seek the day when he could accumulate more knowledge. When Lu Yuan was concentrating on studying and talking about Taoism everywhere, Yuanhai also rushed back to the Qingqing sect with his disciple Feng Qin's servant. The day after returning, Yuanhai notified the public that he was going to retreat. After a month of this, the leader was in the small courtyard. Yuanhai was holding a long sword, with a strange figure and tricky swordsmanship. The green plants in the courtyard rustled and fell. After some practice, Yuanhai sheathed his sword and stood up. His originally fierce face now looked more soft and beautiful. There was a look of satisfaction on his face. Half a month to recuperate and half a month to practice. This evil-repelling sword technique has just been completed, and it is so powerful that it is not worth the effort he put into it. Headmaster. At this time, the disciple's slightly hesitant voice came from outside the courtyard. Enter. The disciple heard the sound and entered, looked at Yu Canghai, who had obviously changed from a month ago, lowered his head and hesitated even more. "What's the matter?" "Well, Master, in recent days, there has been news about the evil sword manual." "Huh? Is it Yu Buchuan or Mu Gaofeng?" None, I mean, Stop hesitating." The disciple lowered his head and said, "It's about the shortcomings of the evil sword manual." Yu Canghai's expression changed immediately. He stared at the disciple in front of him, narrowed his eyes slightly, and continued to ask calmly, "Oh, what are the disadvantages?" "Say. I want to practice this skill." The disciple swallowed his saliva and said the second half of the sentence, "You must first commit suicide." After speaking, the place suddenly fell into an eerie silence. The disciple who reported the report started to sweat on his forehead. It took a while before Yu Canghai said, "Is there anything else?" That it seemed that because he had already spoken, the disciple followed up a lot. "There is also a legend that the evil sword manual is the same as the sunflower book. If you want to practice it, you need to practice it in the palace. It is suspected that it was specially practiced by the eunuchs in the palace. Later, it was deliberately leaked just to bring trouble to the world." "Fart!" Yu Canghai shouted angrily, intending to express his emotions, but the tone of his voice was actually very thin, and the ending tone even turned a corner. Yu Canghai's eyes clearly flashed with fear when he heard his voice. Fortunately, the disciple in front of him always lowered his head and did not see his panic, but the other party could hear the sound clearly, and the body standing there was trembling slightly. Yu Canghai's eyes flashed with murderous intent, but then it dissipated. And turned into something complicated. "Don't listen to those rumors, and don't spread them around the house. Do you understand?" Hearing Yu Canghai's hidden words, the other party nodded quickly. "Disciple understands that those rumors are all false." "I don't know anything and I won't say anything." Yu Canghai stared at the other party for a while, then waved his sleeves and said, "Let's go." "Yes." The disciple hurriedly left the small courtyard as if he had been granted amnesty. Just as he was about to take a step forward, another inquiry came from behind him. "When and where did the news come out?" "I don't know the specific time. It started spreading 2 days ago. The initial location was in our Chengdu prefecture." After the disciple answered, seeing that Yu Canghai had no more questions, he quickly bowed and left. Chapter 36, Going Down to the Tomb. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After there was no one in the courtyard, Yu Canghai murmured, "Do you want to harm the martial arts world?" "No." He shook his head firmly, "I am not being harmed, I just made a sacrifice. If the Qingqing sect had the same foundation as the other 5 mountains, why would I have to snatch the evil defeating sword manual? Everything I did was for the future of the Qingqing sect." After a self-hypnosis, Yu Canghai felt that his contribution could be called great, and he felt much better. As for who released the news, first of all, it is impossible for him and Yu Buchuan, and secondly, it is impossible for other sects that did not get the sword manual, because the rumor clearly targeted the court, and the serious martial arts sects would never do this. So from this point of view, the target is already very clear. Most likely it is the master who is hiding in the dark to hunt down the Jinyui. As for the specific identity of the other party, he doesn't want to know. The cut has been cut, and there is no point in saying more. Now he just wants his sacrifice not to be wasted. Returning to the room and opening the secret compartment, Yu Canghai carefully put the sword manual of exorcism into it. This will be the future of his Qingqing sect, huh? Yu Canghai frowned and took out all the secret books. After a brief inspection, he found nothing missing, but an extra manuscript of Songfeng Divine Sword. He flipped through the secret books with a gloomy expression. At a glance, it can be seen that this is something that is innovative on the original Songfeng sword technique, but each move is much more refined than the original, and the more you look down, the more exquisite the sword technique becomes, and the luck-breathing method matched with it is also much more complicated. Yu Canghai's eyes are red when he sees the end. He trembled all over, holding the sword manual of exorcism in one hand and the Songfeng Divine Sword in the other. He kept spitting out, "Why? Why? Why?" The voice kept getting higher and higher, and the last shrill voice was shouted out. Yu Canghai wanted to tear up the Songfeng sword at this moment, but when his inner force reached his hand, he reluctantly dispersed it. A slight sobbing sound began to sound in the room. A few drops of tears fell on the cover of the Book of Exorcism sword, which seemed a bit ironic. In fact, Lu Yuan did not intend to play such a joke with Yu Canghai. If he knew that Yu Canghai still had the Songfeng sword in his hand, he would put the Songfeng sword on the table when he left. It can only be said that Yu Canghai's actions against Yubuchuan many times not only deceived the major sects in the martial arts world, but also deceived Lu Yuan. All this can only be said to be fate. Unlike Yu Canghai, who was sad in the room, Lu Yuan and the others had just left Chengdu Prefecture and headed towards Shaanxi. The previous news about the Book of Exorcism sword was indeed spread by the two of them. This was something that had been planned long ago. They said they would cause trouble for the court, so they would naturally do it. After the martial arts world digested it for a while, they would continue to release more content. As for the reactions of the Jianghu and the imperial court, he was too lazy to pay too much attention. The two of them strolled and arrived at the foot of Zhongnan Mountain 2 days later. Lu Huar, who had heard the stories of the legend of the Condor Heroes and the Condor Heroes, naturally knew why Lu Yuan came. On the one hand, there are many Taoist temples here, just like Qingqing Mountain. Secondly, there is the legendary Tomb of the Living Dead here. Compared with other sects that would not even have their foundations left after their demise, the Tomb sect, which was hidden underground and had its entrance sealed, was obviously more intact. To put it bluntly, Lu Yuan was greedy for the martial arts of the Tomb sect. The two of them asked along the way and barely found the ruins of the Chuanjian sect. As Lu Yuan expected, after 200 years, there were only weeds and a few gravels left here. The two of them went to the back mountain along the ruins. On the way, Lu Yuan used the technique of dividing gold to determine the location and adjusted the direction all the way. Because the Tomb sect was not a real tomb, it took Lu Yuan a long time to survey the terrain and determine the location. Finally, an area was demarcated. After searching for a while, Lu Yuan even found the broken dragon stone from 100 years ago. Now how to get in has become a problem. As for sneaking in through the pool as described in other time travel novels, Lu Yuan directly denied it because there is no pool around. 200 years have passed, and there have been too many changes. It is even a question whether the interior has collapsed now. How can we get in here? Lu Huar patted the broken dragon stone. Did the two seniors never come out after they went in? Of course, but this woke Lu Yuan up. This ancient tomb was the last place where Yang Guo and Xiaolongno lived in seclusion. As Lu Huar said, even if they were to buy some necessities, they would definitely come out again, so the back road of the ancient tomb must be more than just the pool. What's more, during the Yiqian period, Yang Guo's descendants also appeared. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan asked Lu Huar to wait for a while, and he used light skills to explore the surrounding terrain again. Then, excluding some terrains that could not be used as exits and some less hidden locations, the scope was narrowed again. Then the next step was to explore slowly. Lu Yuan calculated the time and found that there was still plenty of time. So the two spent most of the daytime looking for ways and communicating in the mountains, and a small part of the time exploring near the ancient tomb. Fortunately, Lu Yuan mastered the skills of tomb robbing, otherwise he would not be able to understand whether the terrain had changed or whether the soil was still fresh, let alone effective exploration. In this way, another half a month passed. That afternoon, the knocking sound from the shovel finally showed a difference. Lu Yuan called Lu Huar, who was reading a storybook under a tree to enjoy the cool. Found it? The girl ran over expectantly. It should be right here. Lu Yuan squatted down, put one hand on the side of a flat rock, and began to increase his strength. The rock and the ground suddenly made a harsh friction sound. As the rock moved away, a dark hole appeared. There is a stone staircase at the edge of the cave entrance that extends all the way to the inside. What does this smell like? Lu Huar took a few steps back and fanned the tip of her nose with her little hand. The smell of damp decay. Lu Yuan gave the answer. He noticed that the side of the rock was deliberately carved with a grab handle. It was obviously to make it easier for someone to get in and then pull the rock inside to seal the hole. This further proved that this was the entrance to the ancient tomb. Are we going in? Although Lu Huar covered her mouth and nose, her expression was eager to try. Don't worry, it's been too long. Let it breathe first. We still need to prepare some things. Lu Yuan was always cautious when doing things, let alone this kind of adventure into the tomb. The two of them used hay to cover themselves slightly to allow for ventilation and to avoid being discovered by others. Although it was hidden enough here, just in case. This wait lasted a whole night. That day, Lu Yuan and his two men came back with enough people. They first threw the tits in the bamboo cage inside. After confirming that the air was safe, they put on masks, lit torches, and descended into the tomb. The upper part was covered again with hay. The stairs going deep down were not long, and the two of them quickly reached the bottom. Lu Yuan led the way, walking very carefully, tapping the ground or wall with the shovel in his hand from time to time. No less than a dozen traps were avoided along the way. Although those traps may have been damaged, but even so, Lu Yuan and the two still got lost. Several times, if ordinary people came here, they would probably not be able to tell the direction. However, Lu Yuan's memory was far beyond that of ordinary people, and he left marks from time to time, and he soon discovered a correct path. After passing through the forked tomb passages containing mechanisms, a huge stone chamber that looked like it had the atmosphere of life appeared in front of them. Unfortunately, the neatness and solemnity that I imagined did not appear. What I saw was corpses and bones all over the ground, as well as rusty swords. There was a fight here. Lu Huar was shocked. Lu Yuan didn't expect to see such a situation. He noticed the carvings on the side of the skeleton in the corner. When he took a closer look, it read, "The thief Shi Hongshi betrayed his trust, repaid kindness with hatred, colluded with the court, and will not die a good death." Shi Hongshi. Has this name ever appeared in gold novels? Lu Yuan couldn't help but fell into thinking. Soon, he thought of the girl in yellow shirt who appeared at the end of the movie Ishan. The little girl next to her seemed to be named Shi. Could it be her? It seems that the source of the accident is this person named Shi Hongshi. Lu Huar also came to the side at this time. Maybe, too much has happened in the past 200 years. Let's go and check out other tombs. I hope there is something left behind. Next, the two of them visited almost all the tombs around them, but they were all empty, with nothing left. Lu Yuan, didn't you say there is a stone wall with the 9 manual engraved on it? Are there other secret rooms that we haven't discovered? Let me think. Lu Yuan remembered that there was indeed a secret room, and the entrance was in the tomb where the ancient tomb sect's coffin was placed, but now all the tombs are empty, and there are no coffins anywhere. Lu Yuan and the two searched again. Finally, through tapping, Lu Yuan found the entrance to an empty tomb with a floor full of dirt. Chapter 37, Harvest in the Tomb. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After sweeping away the soil layer, you can see a square stone slab on the edge of the land. With a little gesture, he recognized that it was the base of the sarcophagus. As for where the coffin on top went, he had no way of knowing. The shovel hit the stone slab several times, and the echoes caused Lu Yuan to construct a fuzzy structure in his mind. After confirming that there was no danger, he raised a palm and landed it on the stone surface. The movement was very light, and as his palm moved away, click, click, click. Search TWKAN on Google. Fine cracks began to spread around the point just covered by the palm, and then they all shattered with a crash, revealing a larger tomb below. Looks like we found it. Lu Yuan's face showed joy and he led Lu Huar down into the stone chamber. Through the flickering firelight, you can see the writings on the surrounding stone walls. Even after more than 200 years of wind and frost, the writings are still as sharp as new. Put aside the part of the 9 manual written by Wang Chongyang, a complete set of martial arts of the ancient tomb sect is also engraved on a stone wall. The Heart Sutra of the Jade Girl, the power of the heavenly and earthly network, beauty boxing technique, the Jade Girl sword technique, wind-blowing willow steps, JB needle, and silver cord and golden bell technique. There is even 5 poison palms written by Li Macho. On the other hand, there are what Yang Guobisheng learned, Toad Kung Fu, flicking magical powers, Jade Flute sword technique, Xian Tai sword technique, Quanzhen sword technique, Quanzhen Dao Song, Golden Wild Goose Kung Fu, Ecstasy Palm. Lu Yuan's eyes shone when he saw it. Huar, we found another treasure. That this is obviously the tomb sect's greatest treasure. He now understood somewhat why the upper floor was paved with earth, apparently to conceal the secret chamber below. It can be seen from this that when the tomb sect was robbed, they should have been prepared in advance. How can you say it was picked up? We have been looking for it for more than half a month. Lu Huar corrected. Unlike Lu Yuan, who was looking at martial art secrets, Lu Huar came to the stone mural in the center of the tomb. The painting shows a couple of gods and goddesses. The man is brave and one-armed, while the woman is cold and pure. There are writings on the side of the stone wall. At the foot of Zhongnan Mountain, in the tomb of the living dead, the Condor heroes and their couple disappeared from the world. Ask what love is in this world, and it will tell you whether life and death are together. As if the story was brought into reality, Lu Huar softly recited the words she heard from Lu Yuan's mouth, with the longing and pursuit of love of a girl of her age reflected in her beautiful eyes. At this time, a voice came. Some people say that the word love does not know its origin, its habitat, its knot, its solution, its trace, or its end. But in my opinion, it should begin with we met for the first time and stayed with each other for a long time. What do you think, Huar? Lu Huar was instantly amused by these words and blushed. She turned around and glared at Lu Yuan angrily. Talk. Hurry up and memorize your secret book. What will happen if the tomb collapses later? Lu Yuan chuckled, stopped joking, looked back at the secret book on the stone wall, and began to record it quickly. Seeing that Lu Yuan was getting serious, Lu Huar looked at the couple in the mural again, with a happy smile on her face, and said in a very soft voice, "Me too." Lu Yuan was very fast. After writing everything down thoroughly, he and Lu Huar searched around again. After confirming that nothing was missing, the two bowed to the mural, left the tomb, and exited the tomb. Seal the rock again, and it depends on fate when it will be discovered next. After leaving, the two people quickly went down the mountain to find an inn. Lu Yuan began to sort out the harvest. He first read all the secret books carefully. What surprised him was that among the fine martial arts, there were the Jade Girl's Heart Sutra, the Willow Steps in the Wind, Toad Kung Fu, Quan Zhen Dao Song and Sadly Ecstasy Poem. The remaining few are barely close to high-quality products, far exceeding the martial arts currently prevalent in the world. After sorting the secret books into categories, Lu Yuan once again transformed into an upgrade monster, eliminating the old and bringing out the new, and integrating it into himself. In terms of martial arts code, it was subsequently upgraded to version 4.3, and the techniques gradually began to return to their original nature. Qinggong Wandering on the Clouds has been upgraded to version 5.3. The tomb party's preference for light kung fu gave Lu Yuan a lot of gains, and this time it was a pure improvement in sophistication. Through the test, Lu Yuan can now jump 20 feet in one step without borrowing the wind, and can reach 7 feet in height. If he borrows the wind, this number will double. Especially when the weather is extremely beautiful, Lu Yuan feels you can even turn into a kite yourself. Longevity Kung Fu has been upgraded to version 6.7, and the harvest comes from Yi Jin Yao Tong Bones and Quan Zhen Dao Song. I won't talk about the former, but it makes the technique more efficient in tempering the bones, mainly talking about Quan Zhen Dao Song. This is the most common internal skill of Xuanhuan sect at that time. The entry level is very low, but the intention and final achievement are very high. You will not encounter any difficulties in the middle of the practice. As long as you live long enough, you can basically do it. Direct access to the innate martial arts. Using this exercise as nourishment, Lu Yuan sorted out and fine-tuned the entire exercise structure and details of the longevity gong. Although there were no major changes, the foundation was stronger and the internal force ran more smoothly. As for the final kendo and concept of immortality, they have been upgraded to version 4.5 and version 2.7 respectively. These are also the two areas where he gained the most this time. To be honest, Lu Yuan was not very focused on swordsmanship before. Perhaps it was the inherent influence of scientific thinking. What he pursued before was always the pinnacle of technique. It was not until he learned to take advantage of the situation that swordsmanship was considered complete. After breaking away from the scope of techniques, Lu Yuan gradually began to pay attention. This time, through the sword path left by Yangguo, Lu Yuan glimpsed the shadow of the legendary sword demon Dugu Qiubai. It was also at that moment that Lu Yuan caught the inspiration and truly realized the existence of the sword intent. Although it is still a little hazy at present, Lu Yuan can indeed do it now. Everything can be a sword in his hands. Well, it is a bit mysterious to say this, so let's change it to a more transparent description. Lu Yuan figured out the composition of the sword intent. It is to attach the understanding and belief of the human heart about the sword to the sword in the hand by taking advantage of the situation. At that moment, the clearer the sword heart is, the stronger the sword intent is. If on this basis, the perfect sword technique is used as the cornerstone, then the power of this sword will be unimaginable. It can be seen from this that the difficulty of mastering the sword intent is first to use the heart of the sword, and secondly to learn to take advantage of the momentum of one's own sword heart. This is also the reason why those famous swordsmen in the past did not often change their swords. Lu Yuan understood the sword intent, and taking advantage of the situation can be more than just a sword, but he has not yet found his own sword heart. Now, he can only add some vague sword meanings, such as sharp, extremely fast, natural, etc. He is looking for longevity and freedom, and he is not so obsessed with swords. However, now that he has made such a discovery, he will naturally cultivate or look for it in the future. Let's talk about the spiritual martial arts longevity visualization method. This is also the slowest version upgrade among all Lu Yuan's martial arts. The reason is that there are too few related martial arts classics. Most of the time, Lu Yuan is self-exploring and deducing, so the speed is naturally the slowest. However, Yonggua's sad and sad palm gave Lu Yuan a surprise. The palm method itself is average, and it is not even a masterpiece. What is valuable is the way to improve the palm power in it. Through the inheritance left by Yonggua, Lu Yuan can see that he has never learned the sword meaning, but he has learned to stimulate emotions with painful memories, thereby temporarily improving mental power to complete the instantaneous leverage. This is the core principle of sad and sad palm. Lu Yuan is not happy about leveraging his own emotions, which he has already learned. What makes him happy is that he knows that the stimulation of emotions helps to temper his own spirit. In this way, he believed that he could find or remember it as he continued to explore, but now he had a ready-made product, which saved him a lot of testing time, and as long as he saw a little bit of the road, he would have a way to improve it, or even repave it, just when Lu Yuan was happily improving. What he and Lu Hua had done before also made the Jinyui move. 1,000 households named Dong Changjie were appointed to investigate the matter, and all 500 Jinyui were dispersed with only one order: investigate everything about Lu Yuan's past, and don't let go of anything related. Chapter 38. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Huashan, known as Xia in ancient times, also known as Taihua Mountain, is one of the famous 5 mountains in China. It is also located in Shaanxi, bordering the Qinling Mountains in the south and overlooking the Huangwei Mountains in the north. It is famous for its steepness. Since ancient times, it has been the most dangerous mountain in the world. One mountain reputation. After completing the upgrade of their own internal strength, Lu Yuan and the two stayed in Zhongnan Mountain for less than half a month. When we arrived at Huashan, it was already early September. Sneaking into the Huashan sect, he didn't even need to inquire, and he learned that Linghu Chong had been staying on Sigua Cliff for almost 2 months. He must have discovered the existence of the cave, and Feng Qingyang was about to pass on the 9 swords of Dugu to him. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan was looking forward to fighting against Feng Qingyang. He now needed someone's help to test his strength, but before that, he planned to take a look at the inheritance of the Huashan sect. Although those inheritances may seem a bit low-level now, it doesn't matter. The important thing is the ideas and ideas. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. He easily touched Yu Buchuan's residence and found out what he had learned. Taking advantage of Lao Yu and Ning Zhong's absence, Lu Yuan quickly found the location of the mechanism. Turning the vase on the bookshelf slightly, a dark room was revealed. Entering it, there is only a set of tables, chairs, and a bookshelf. The so-called 9 gongs of Huashan are placed on the bookshelf. Let Lu Hua wait for a while, and he began to look through the classics on the bookshelf. 3 deadly immortal swords, 3 green peaks of Taiyue, 13 styles of Qin Feng, Liuhe sword technique, Huashan sword technique, Huashan golden wild goose technique, Hunyuan gong, eagle and snake life and death fight, Antiliangi sword fa, Chaoyang Ichi Sword, 19 Styles of Jade Girl, Hunyuan Palm, Yengu Sword Technique, Bao Yuan Jin, Fuhu Palm Technique, 10 Sections of Xuanhuan Brocade, etc. It is indeed a great sect that once enjoyed great glory. Even after the Battle of Sword Energy, it can still retain so many secret books, but among them is missing the Zixia magic. Lu Yuan knew that Zixia was always carried by Lao Yu, but he was not in a hurry if he had the chance to see her later. After some sorting, the only ones that really have merit are Chaoyang Ichi Sword and Yengu Sword Technique. The former is inspired by the majestic momentum of the rising sun, while the latter focuses on the cultivation of swordsmanship and self. Cultivation, one of these two took advantage of the rising sun of heaven and earth, and the other gave Lu Yuan the idea of nourishing the heart of the sword with Confucian awe-inspiring righteousness. It can be said that these two have high intentions, but their flaws are also obvious. After quickly absorbing all the knowledge on this bookshelf, Lu Huar had already prepared pen and ink nearby. Lu Yuan thought for a while, suddenly got a good idea, and started writing. He chose to use Yengu sword technique as the basis, implement the Confucian idea of nourishing the sword's heart with Haren's righteousness, and named it Haren sword. Lu Yuan integrated all the essence of other Huashan swordsmanship into it, rewritten the 12 sword moves, and then left behind the method of maintaining the sword with Confucian aura, that is to say, based on personal preferences, select the 12 articles that have the deepest feelings, and use the 12 insights gained from the articles to correspond to the 12 sword moves. You must practice swordsmanship together when reviewing the articles every day, until you form thinking and muscle habits. Integrate the 12 insights into yourself, and use them as personal rules of conduct. When you can draw the sword and the insights come to life, Haren's sword will have been completed. At that time, the sword was drawn with an awe-inspiring meaning, and it was so majestic that ghosts and gods were shocked. After finishing writing, Lu Yuan nodded with satisfaction. He also gained a lot, which was a sort of summary of what he had learned during this period. Although Lu Yuan's writing of Haren's sword is exaggerated, it is actually about the cultivation of sword spirit. If he had not experienced the harvest of the ancient tomb, it would be difficult for him to come up with this kind of water-grinding method. Now if he follows his method, an ordinary person can eventually develop the awe-inspiring sword intent. However, this secret book requires very high Xinqing requirements. First, you must love reading, secondly, love swords, and finally, you must be able to combine knowledge with action and be strict with yourself. Lu Yuan also wrote these in the secret book. He now wants to know what Lao Yu's expression will be after seeing these. Well, he admitted that he did it on purpose. This is not because Lao Yu has always claimed to be a gentleman, so he gave the other party this secret book that requires the unity of knowledge and action to practice. He now wants to say to Lao Yu, "Look, how good I am to you, this secret book is specially tailored for you, why don't you thank me?" When Lu Yuan showed an inexplicable smile on his lips, Lu Hua ran over to watch. After reading everything, I saw Lu Yuan's bad taste, and couldn't help but laugh. It's true that you are here to persuade the gentleman in Liangshang to be a true gentleman. You are so bad. How can you say it's bad? Lu Yuan scratched the girl's nose and said proudly, "This secret book is very eye-catching. If Master Yuda can really make changes and practice it patiently, he will definitely achieve great results. And this can be regarded as a meritorious deed for me. Only you still." Lu Hua wanted to say something casual, but suddenly she saw Lu Yuan making a silence gesture. Soon, there was a conversation outside the dark room. "Oops, junior sister. I swear I didn't practice the evil sword manual." Lao Yu's helpless voice came from outside. "No, I have to check." Ning Zhong's voice was firm. "Brother, you don't have to hide it from me anymore. I know you must have the evil sword manual in your hand. Nowadays, in the world, the reputation of warding off evil and harm is very popular. I will never watch you go astray." "Okay, junior sister, I admit that I do have sword manuals in my hand, but I really haven't practiced yet." "You have to believe me." "How can I believe it?" Ning Zhongza suddenly interrupted the other party, a little excited. "Since I came back, when you and I were in the same room, we never had sex again. How can I believe you?" "No, I have to check it out now." Hey. What are you doing?" It's broad daylight, Ling Shan and the others will come at any time, junior sister. Junior sister. Calm down. Take it off. I want to see it now. Okay, okay. Close the door first. At least close the door first. Then there was a hurried voice, accompanied by a rustling sound, which made Lu Yuan look strange in the dark room, and Lu Huar blushed and covered her ears with her hands. About a quarter of an hour later, Ning Zhong's voice reappeared, and his tone was obviously much lighter. Brother, I feel relieved that it is still there. Brother, you have to keep your mind in check, and don't practice the evil defeating sword manual in the future. It's better to burn it directly. In order to supervise you, I will check every 3 days. Junior sister, it was originally 7 days. Lao Yu's voice rose, and there was a hint of fear. I'm doing this for your own good. Are you unwilling? Or can't I? Nonsense. How can I not be able to? That's it. I see you are tired, take a rest, I'll make you a bowl of turtle soup to replenish you. No, when am I tired? Help me up, Lao Denoa has something to report to me later, don't delay. Lao Yu forced himself to speak. Alas, you. Soon there was another rustling, followed by the sound of opening and closing the door. After the old Yu couple left, Lu Yuan walked out of the dark room with the girl, whose face was still red. Because of Mrs. Yu's supervision, Lu Yuan didn't have to put the secret manuscript in the open. Well, who would have thought that I would encounter such a thing? Lu Yuan held back his laughter. You still say. Lu Huar glared at Lu Yuan in shame and anger. No more, let's go. In the next few days, Lu Yuan and the others did not go down the mountain, and visited various Taoist temples as before, until 3 days later, when Lu Yuan saw Tian Buguan carrying wine up the mountain from a distance, he understood that the plot about the sword energy dispute on Huashan was about to begin. Chapter 39 Zixia Gathering Qi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. So again half a month later, Lu Bai, the crane master of the Songzhan sect, Feng Buping, Qingbuo, and Song Buqi from the sword sect came to Huashan and the plot officially began. At this time, Lu Yuan also ended the exchange and discussion and returned to paying attention to the situation here. When he noticed Ling Huchong hurriedly hurried down Sigua Cliff, Lu Yuan took Lu Huar to move. They disguised themselves as 2 ordinary men, stepped on the cliff and floated over the cliff. Soon, a cracked stone cave appeared in their eyes. Lu Yuan took the lead and entered the inside. As written in the original work, there were various skeletons and weapons scattered on both sides of the cave. On the wall are carved the secret techniques of the 5 mountain sword sect. It's just that there are only moves but no luck formula. Lu Yuan glanced at the contents of the Hengshan and Huashan sects, and looked directly at the 3 sects of Taishan, Hengshan, and Songzhan. There was not much content, but the sword moves were quickly memorized by him. After that, Lu Yuan waited for another long time, but there was no Feng Qing. Yang took the initiative to show up. Doesn't it mean that strangers who trespass on the Huashan sect will be expelled by Feng Qingyang? Why didn't the old man show up after he waited for so long? Could it be that he went into the mountains and wild fields? Lu Yuan was too lazy to wait any longer, so he opened his mouth and shouted, Senior Feng Qingyang, I am a junior and have taken the liberty of visiting. Please show up and meet me. That the sound continued to echo in the cave, but after waiting for a few breaths, no one was seen. Are you really not here? There was no way he was going to see the 3 sword sections. Lu Yuan didn't believe it. If old man Feng had meant it, he would have gone down the mountain to look for it. Most likely, he still heard about it and didn't want to see him. Senior, I came all the way here and have admired you for a long time. Please give me a chance to meet you. Lu Yuan spoke again, but after waiting for a long time, there was still no response. Okay, Senior, I've put my cards on the table. I want to have a sword showdown with you. Are you scared? Lu Yuan simply used Ji Jiang, but there was still no movement. There should really be no one. Lu Huar said from the side at this time. Oh, it's a pity. I wanted to break his 9 swords of Dugu to scare this old man, but he was not here. Lu Yuan too expressed regret. These words could be said to be quite provocative, almost deliberately stepping on Feng Qingyang's proudest side. However, there was still no reaction. It was as if the whole process was Lu Yuan's one-man show. Never mind. Lu Yuan shook his head helplessly, turned around and left with Lu Huar. Not long after they left, a swordsman with a white beard and a green shirt walked out from the depths of the cave. He frowned and stared at the direction Lu Yuan was leaving, and murmured, "It's strange, they are both young, why do they give me such great danger alert?" After failing to successfully fight against Feng Qingyang, Lu Yuan could only look for another opportunity, and now he went to the Huashan sect. At this moment, Ling Huchong happened to be fighting against Jian Zong Feng Buping. The two of them basically used no internal strength, and all they fought was sword moves. One person wields a sword as fast as the wind, the other fights with each other to resolve the situation, and the two fight from inside the hall to outside the hall. Ling Huchong used a broom in his hand to force the opponent to scramble, and his swordsmanship gradually lost its shape. In the distance, Lu Yuan squinted and saw the doorway. Muscle memory to attack the enemy and save it. He muttered something, and after simulating it several times in his mind, he had basically figured out the core of Dugun 9 swords. To learn this kind of swordsmanship, you need to memorize all the ways of exerting force in every part of the human body. When facing an enemy, you need to have a quick mind, and it is best to develop muscle memory. As soon as the opponent makes a move, you can judge his move in advance. You can intercept and interrupt first. In this way, one move comes first, the other moves first, and the opponent is extremely frustrated. It can only be said that Dugu Qiufei back then would have been very suitable if he changed his career to forensic medicine. It took me killing so many people and dissecting so many corpses to figure out how to deal with it. I just mastered the technique. However, this technique is not impossible to crack. One is to confront the so-called one force that defeats all methods head-on, and the second is to change the traditional way of drawing a sword. Just as he was thinking about it, the battle below had already concluded. Just like in the original work, Ling Huchong won. Feng Buping got angry and attacked from behind, seriously injuring Ling Huchong. Then a few fools from the 6 immortals of Peach Valley came in, cut Feng Buping's body into pieces, and took Ling Huchong away. Seeing this scene, Lu Yuan smiled, knowing that this was another adventure of Ling Huchong that was about to unfold, and at the same time, his opportunity to watch the magic power of Purple Cloud was about to come. That night, Lao Yu led a group of Huashan disciples down the mountain, preparing to run to Songshan Mountain to ask for an explanation. Originally, Lu Dayo was left to take care of Ling Huchong in the mountains, but Yu Lingshan stole Lao Yu's Purple Cloud magic skill and secretly gave it to Ling Huchong to help him regulate the energy in his body. However, Ling Huchong xiang. He shouted that he couldn't read it without the master's permission. Lu Dayo also had a monkey temper. "If you don't read it, I will read it to you." As a result, Ling Huchong was one step ahead and pretended to have a recurrence of internal injuries. Taking advantage of Lu Dayo's approach, he instantly poked Lu Dayo's acupoints and stuffed the Purple Cloud divine art into his arms. He asked Lu Dayo to lie down on his bed while he chose left. In the original plot, Lodno, who was an undercover agent of the Songshan sect, took advantage of this moment to steal the secret book and kill people. At this moment, standing on the eaves, watching Ling Huchong leave, Lu Yuan and the other two flew down, popping a stone far away, making Lu Dayo, who was lying there, sleep even more. The two of them entered the house and naturally picked up Zixia Shinggong and looked through it. In less than 5 minutes, Lu Yuan finished reading, with a flash of surprise in his eyes. This is an orthodox Taoist secret book, so the characteristic is that the practice is slow, but the effect of health preservation and strengthening the body is excellent. When practiced to perfection, the ears and eyes are sharp, the body is healthy and the aging is delayed. It is an excellent Taoist foundation building method. After reading it, Lu Yuan found that its content is at least 50% similar to the Song of the Chuanjin Dao, which shows its origin, but Zixia magic art also has its uniqueness, that is, the collection of morning glow purple qi. With Lu Yuan's current vision, he can see at a glance that this is not something in martial arts, but a serious Taoist breathing. It is also the saying of eating the essence of the sun often mentioned in Taoism. In Taoism, purple qi is one of the most condensed essences in the primordial qi of heaven and earth, with extremely high energy and spirituality. At sunrise, when the morning glow purple qi fills the sky and the earth, it is an excellent opportunity for Taoists to breathe and refine qi and be cleansed by pure yang purple qi. Zixia magic art combines the martial arts exercise method with Taoist breathing, relying on the moment when the purple air enters the body and disperses. The internal force can be contaminated with a little bit of the purple air effect. Even if it is just a little bit, it is obviously different from the internal force cultivated by other internal skills. This is why Zixia magic art can regulate the qi and delay aging. This is a bit similar to the second stage of Lu Yuan's Changxing Gong. However, there is an essential difference between the two. The body of an ordinary person is like a bamboo basket full of holes. It can't keep or control the high-level energy of purple air. Every time you breathe in and out, it's just a bamboo basket to draw water. The water stains on the surface of the bamboo basket are the harvest of breathing. After the first stage of Changxing Gong is completed, the bamboo basket does not need to draw water anymore, but is directly sunk into the water, constantly receiving the baptism of water, and finally completing a transformation. Therefore, seeing the method of collecting purple air in Zixia magic art now, Lu Yuan feels a little bit tasteless and a pity to throw it away. That's it, it's better than nothing. Lu Yuan finally decided to add the qi gathering feature to his Changxing Gong. Just as he made the decision, he heard footsteps approaching cautiously from outside. Lu Yuan and Lu Huar looked at each other, then retreated to the side of the door against the wall. Soon, a simple and honest figure came to the door. He called out in a low voice, and when there was no response, he prepared to enter the door, but just as he stepped forward with his left foot, preparing to enter the door, something seemed to trip his left foot in the air. He suddenly lost his balance and fell forward. After all, he was a warrior, and Lao Danoa subconsciously adjusted his center of gravity. As a result, his lower back seemed to have suddenly pulled a nerve, and he was numb for a moment, and he fell straight to the ground, with a thump. His head touched the ground and he fainted. Lu Yuan came to him silently at this time and gave him another shot to ensure that he could sleep long enough. Then he changed the other person's position, moving from inside the door to outside, pretending to stumble, and put the purple cloud magic skill into the other person's hand. After finishing, the two left leisurely. Chapter 40 Discovery of the Secret Book. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At dawn, everything was silent. The top of Yuntai Peak on the north peak of Huashan Mountain was shrouded in morning mist, as if a fairyland had fallen into the mortal world. Lu Yuan and Lu Huar sat cross-legged, waiting for the red sun to rise in the east. The wind brought the breath of the mountains and forests, brushing the corners of clothes, revealing a bit of coolness. Suddenly, a touch of orange-red jumped out of the sea of clouds in the distance, like the sword light of a peerless swordsman, instantly piercing the sky and splitting the darkness into two. The light was soft at first, then blazing, like the purest flame between heaven and earth. It was at this time that Lu Yuan clearly felt that the world seemed to have become happy at this moment. He did not hesitate, and his internal force rushed out, wrapped in the momentum of the sea of clouds and the wind, forming an invisible vortex. The two people in the center of the vortex began to operate the new skills after integrating gathering qi. When breathing through the mouth and nose, it seemed that there was a coolness penetrating the body, a kind of comfort from the bottom of the heart, which made people addicted. This went on for about a quarter of an hour. Lu Yuan and the other person opened their eyes at the same time. A little bit of purple remained in their eyes. As the practice progressed, it naturally dissipated. It does feel different, much easier. Will doing this every day in the future slow down aging? Lu Huar asked expectantly. You can see from Yubuchuan that he is almost 60 years old, but he still looks like he is in his 40s. And we still have the Changxing Gong to help us maintain our beauty. If we continue like this, we estimate that as long as we don't disperse the Gong within 100 years, we can always maintain around 30 years old. If we complete the second stage of transformation, then. Lu Yuan deliberately kept it a secret. How is that? Lu Yuan laughed. Then your lifespan and youth will be back, so, come on girl. Don't leave any wrinkles on your face. Don't worry. There won't be any. At this moment, Lu Hua's training mood was unprecedentedly high. Lu Yuan was very satisfied with this reaction, and recalled the first time he had just gathered qi. As he thought, the purple qi was like the river flowing eastward, and it was impossible to catch it. Even if he spent a lot of effort to create an internal force vortex, it was at most comparable to 3 normal qi collections. It was not that he did not gather enough purple qi, but that his body had intercepted the upper limit. He did not regret the result that he had expected. In the future, he would enter the second stage of the technique, which would be much more efficient than this. Now he tried it. Firstly, it was better than nothing, and secondly, he wanted to use this method to nourish Lu Hua's body. Although the little girl was healthy every day, if it were not for his long-term conditioning and the nourishment of the customized version of Changxing Gong, it was unknown whether she could live past 12 years old. Congenital deficiency is a headache. Lu Yuan is used to taking precautions. He still clearly remembers Lu Hua's being sprout-like appearance when she first came. In order to worry less in the future, he should work harder now. Back to Huashan sect. On the way, Lao Yu found that the Zixia magic art was lost. After being harassed by Qingbuyo and others, he rushed back to Huashan overnight and met Ling Huchong and Tian Buguang halfway. After a debate on values, Lao Yu temporarily let Ling Huchong go at the cost of an extra sword wound on his leg and the increase of his chaotic internal energy to 8 parts. The group hurried to Lu Daio's room. Before entering the door, they saw Lao Denoa lying on the ground with Zixia magic art in his hand from a distance. Second senior brother. All the disciples hurried forward and were about to help him. Don't move, Lao Yu shouted and stopped everyone from coming forward. He took the secret book back in his hand, checked it a little, and confirmed that there was no problem. Then his eyes fell back to the ground, with a trace of coldness undisguised. Senior brother, Denoa seems to have tripped and fainted. Ning Zhongzi was a little unsure after checking, because it sounded ridiculous. Go in and see Daio first. Yu Buchuan turned around and told Ling Huchong and others. Soon, Lu Daio was woken up in a daze. Master? What happened last night? Faced with the serious old Yu, Lu Daio hesitated for a moment, and subconsciously looked at Ling Huchong and Yu Lingshan. What are you still hesitating about? They have already told me. I want to know what happened after Ling Huchong left. After senior brother left, Lu Daio tried to recall, and finally showed a bitter face. I don't remember. After senior brother left, I fell asleep in a daze. After that, I was just woken up by senior brother. Old Yu was speechless. He turned his back and thought for a moment. His eyes turned cold and he said directly, Go and lock up Lao Denoa for me first. No one is allowed to approach without my order. Master, second senior brother. Forget it, I will tell you. I have already found out Lao Denoa's identity. He is actually an undercover planted by Songzhan sect. I didn't say it before because I wanted to see what Lao Denoa wanted to do. Now that my Huashan sect has encountered many trivial matters, this guy finally showed his feet. He actually coveted my sect's purple cloud divine art. In this case, there is no need to keep him, old Yu said calmly. The other disciples were shocked. To be honest, Lao Denoa had a very good reputation in Huashan sect over the years. In addition to providing various kinds of help to his fellow disciples on a daily basis, he would even occasionally help his disciples to resolve their problems. He left people with the impression of being an honest and caring elder brother. Now, with one word from Lao Yu, everything collapsed. Some disciples turned pale, not knowing whether they were frightened or because of other reasons. After all the disciples left, Ning Zhongzi asked privately about the treatment of Lao Denoa. Lao Yu sighed. Imprisonment was the result of his deep thinking. Now the situation of the 5 mountains was unclear. Their Huashan sect was in a weak position. It was not good to do it to the extreme, otherwise he would kill Lao Denoa on the spot. After a discussion, the couple decided to go down the mountain as in the original, but this time, because the Zixia secret book was not lost, Lao Yu hesitated again and again. He thought that it had been stolen once and it was not safe to keep it on his body. So he went to the dark room and planned to put the secret book in it. As a result, as soon as the secret room was opened, he saw the extra manuscripts. In an instant, Lao Yu's face changed drastically. He shouted directly behind him, "Junior sister, notify the disciples to block the mountain gate and pay attention to all the forks in the mountain." That after giving the order, he went forward to check other secret books. After carefully confirming that nothing was lost, he carefully and solemnly picked up the stack of manuscripts. The 3 words Harem sword came into his eyes. Old Yu continued to read, and the shadows of the sword moves of various schools of Huashan sect kept appearing, but they were obviously much more advanced. There were a total of 12 sword moves that were refined to the extreme. Old Yu was amazed and almost couldn't help but applaud. But when he saw the subsequent method of cultivating the sword heart with righteousness, for some reason, his old face turned red with shame. The manuscript clearly explained the teaching seriously, but he always felt that someone was staring at him and making innuendos. At the end of the article, there was a sentence: "Don't be proud of your reputation, don't feel guilty for profit, be clear about your ups and downs, cultivate yourself, manage your family, and revitalize your sect. This is a true gentleman." After reading it, Old Yu staggered a step, and his originally red face turned pale at this moment. "Senior brother," that the soft call behind him scared Old Yu and he subconsciously hid the manuscript behind him, but then, the sentence just now appeared in his mind again: "Gentlemen. Gentlemen." Lao Yu was a little unsteady, and his forehead was covered with sweat in the middle of September. "Brother, don't scare me, what happened?" Ning Zhongzi hurried over to support him. Lao Yu stared at his wife's concerned face, which was still charming, and smiled bitterly, almost crying. Fortunately, he managed to hold it back. "Master, junior sister." As soon as Lao Yu opened his mouth, his voice was a little hoarse, but he still chose to continue. "Junior sister, I was wrong, really wrong.